Thank you all for joining our League of Railway Women webinar session today called Beginning the Journey, a conversation about gender and race in the workplace. I'm going to start with just a couple of housekeeping items as per usual. There are two ways to listen in. You can use your computer system's default audio, or you can use the telephone line. If you go to the audio pane, it'll give you a phone number. So sometimes if you're having tech issues or connectivity issues on your computer, it's easier to listen by phone. Also, feel free to submit the questions, any questions that you might have in the questions pane. We'll do the best we can to answer those questions. Desiree and I will be, and Amelia will be looking through those questions and answering the best that we can. And finally, in order to create a safe space to have this conversation, we will not be recording this session. Here's the LRW Code of Conduct. You know, this is a safe and welcoming space. We will not tolerate discrimination or harassment. Everything discussed in this meeting is considered confidential and should not be shared outside, at least nothing. What we don't want is anything coming out of context with what people are saying here. And then we reserve to take any right deemed necessary and appropriate. If you have any questions, you can email me at president@railwaywomen.org. And then, here we go. I will begin. Thank you to you all for taking time to join us today to listen to this important conversation about the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the rail industry. I appreciate those of you who filled out the poll and letting us know where you fit in on the DEI scale, and for those of you who submitted questions. This webinar is a continuation of a discussion that we had last June, and it's clear to me that this conversation will continue long after today. LRW's role in connecting and cultivating women in rail, we want to provide you an avenue for learning opportunities you may not be getting access to otherwise. We believe the rail industry is more successful and can attract better talent when we have a diverse and inclusive workforce from the C-suite to the factory floor. In any discussion about inclusion and diversity, the verdict from yesterday's trial and the events of the last year leading up to it are sure to be on your mind. I know this may be a sensitive time for many, it certainly is for me, as we are all experiencing complex feelings about the verdict and moving forward. I encourage you to let your feelings remain, even though they may feel uncomfortable and sometimes in conflict with one another. My hope is that we resolve to be understanding and empathetic to all people impacted by issues of inequity in our society. With regard to this panel, we can still think about this in our specific corner of society. Take the uncomfortable feelings that you may be feeling and use it to re-examine our normal ways of doing business and what changes we can make to create an impact. I'd like to introduce you to our moderator and personal friend of mine, Desiree Knight. Desiree, you can show your camera if you'd like. Desiree is an accomplished executive leader with a passion for lifelong learning and understanding the importance of creating an inclusive environment for all. Her leadership has been recognized by the Professional Convention Management Association, also known as PCMA, Board of Directors, as the first governance chair and as a sought-after industry expert in customer advisory boards. In addition, her background on inclusion, diversity, equity, and access has been actualized through her volunteer work with the Events Industry Council. She is the Senior Director of Education and Meetings for the American Railway Engineering Maintenance of Way Association, and she will help guide today's webinar around this important topic. Thank you, Desiree.
How many times have we heard, you're on mute, you're on mute? Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction, and hello to everyone on this webinar. We have over 150 people registered today, which says to me, we are going to have a great conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Before we get started, I need to point out, although Chauvin was convicted yesterday of all 3 counts for murdering George Floyd, there is still a lot of work we have to do in this country to help heal racial inequality, and it continues today. Based on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Journey Survey that was filled out by you, there are 32% of you who are beginning your journey into DE&I. 58% of you feel comfortable standing up for others, and there are 10% that feel they are diverse in D&I matters. We have a lot to explore and uncover with our conversation today in a short amount of time. So without further ado, I would like to ask each panelist to give a brief introduction of who they are and what they do. Let's start with Chantel.
Good afternoon, ladies and possibly gentlemen. My name is Chantel Davis, and I am the Vice President and Group Manager for the Greenbrier Companies, our Southeast Sales Organization. We are a railcar manufacturing and barge manufacturing organization. I have been with the Greenbrier for approximately a year and a month right now. Prior to that, I had 20 plus years with CSX Transportation in various roles, including sales and marketing, real estate, and facilities management. I am also very active in our local community, serving on various boards